So, dear all, good morning and warm welcome to all of you for this sixth edition of Duologue. It's a dialogue with corporate leaders. Today, we have with us Sri Lakshmipathy Bhat, Senior Vice President, Global Marketing and Communications, Robosoft Technologies, Bengaluru. And the topic for today's session is marketing communications in the digital era. So, about myself, I'm Dr. Prabhu Shankar, Professor in Marketing at DG Academy for Managerial Excellence. First, I would like to give a brief introduction to DG Academy for Managerial Excellence. DG Academy for Managerial Excellence was established in the year 2001 by the late Dr. D. Jayavarthana Velu, past chairman of Lakshmi Machine Works, that is LMW Coimbatore, as a unit of GKD Charity Trust Coimbatore. The institute offers a 2-year full-time MBA program recognized by All India Council of Technical Education, that is AICTE New Delhi, and it is affiliated with Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore and Tamil Nadu. It is also a recognized center for pursuing the part-time MPhil and PhD programs of the Bharatiyar University. LMW and its related companies support DG Academy for Managerial Excellence students through access to industrial expertise, experiential learning through practicing managers and value-added programs. It is a 22-year-old B school, and its USP is its very strong industry interface. With a combination of a highly qualified and committed core faculty team and a team of visiting faculty comprising practicing managers from the industry, the institution offers the right mix of theory and practice to offer the best outcome-based MBA course. DG Academy has a Center for Faculty Development and Management Development Center. The Academy takes pride in facilitating students the opportunity to interact with various CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, and other leaders of the industry. We offer many valuable programs called Connect programs, and the Duologue is our flagship program where a senior faculty member from the Academy exchanges a dialogue with the corporate leader on contemporary issues in various facets of management. So all these Connect programs help students receive first-hand information and exposure from the members of the industry. Along with this, our faculty also take an effort to bring about change in attitude of students by teaching them etiquettes and professionalism. DJME has organized more than 100 online and offline programs since March 2020 so far. So all our programs are open to all the registered participants. With this brief introduction to DG Academy for Managerial Excellence, it gives immense pleasure to welcome our esteemed speaker, Sri Lakshmipathy Bhat, Senior Vice President, Global Marketing and Communications, Robosoft Technologies, Bengaluru, for the sixth edition of the Duologue. A warm welcome to you, sir, on behalf of the faculty and students of DG Academy of Managerial Excellence.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. Next, I also welcome our beloved director, Dr. A.G.V. Narayanan, who has given an opportunity for me to host this Duologue. Welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I also welcome all the faculty and students from other higher education institutions and participants from industry. Welcome you all. Finally, I welcome our faculty members and students of DG Academy for Managerial Excellence. Before going to the program, I would like to introduce our beloved speaker. Sri Lakshmipathy Bhat is a marketing communications professional with 3 decades of work experience, primarily in advertising agencies. He started his career in the 90s and has been a part of dramatic shift from print and television-led advertising to the digital world of marketing communications today. In his career, he has worked at Gray, JWT, and FCB Ulka in account management roles, and later as a branch or country head. At Gray, he was the country manager for Bangladesh and later headed the Sri Lanka operations too. At FCB Ulka, he was vice president of their Bangalore operations. He has worked on the communication strategies of several MNCs and Indian corporates, including Procter & Gamble, GSK, ITC Foods, and Wipro Consumer Care and Lighting, among others. So he also has a brief stint in entrepreneurship before joining the B2B tech services from Robosoft Technologies, where he is now Senior Vice President, Global Marketing and Communications. He writes about creative advertisements and trends in the business of advertising in his personal blog, but naturally, which is among the top ranked advertising blogs in the world. His writings have also been published in leading advertising and marketing portals. Before going for the dialogue, I would like to give a short introduction about the topic of today's session, that is marketing communications in digital era. See, customer communication is a fine art. So when interacting face to face, we naturally alter our communication according to age, tone, facial expressions, and more. So when interacting digitally with thousands of consumers, however, this becomes incredibly tricky. So companies must increasingly embrace digital communication. COVID-19 enforced quarantines and lockdowns have pushed life online, forcing consumers of all ages onto digital channels. And digital communication is now the de facto norm for modern organizations. However, how do different generations react to different communication strategies by the corporates? And what are the change in the dynamics or digital communication after post-COVID? Everything we are going to get from the interactions of we are going to start now. So now we will start the program. Sir, can we start the session, sir, with your consent?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So my first question, sir, those who were born from 1981 to 96 are called Generation Y or Millennials. This generation is extremely comfortable with digital technology. So they want to resolve the issues quickly and often independently. And the vast majority of millennials are on social media, meaning this is the another good communication avenue to consider. And apart from that, those who were born from 1996 to 2011 are called Gen Z or Boomlets. So this is a smartphone first generation. An estimated 70% actually prefer using their smartphone versus computers on other devices. So in the meantime, SMS, WhatsApp, and OTT and Spotify marketing is more effective with the generation than any other. So my question to you, sir, what significant changes have the marketing world seen over the last few decades, which have an impact on how the discipline is approached today? Sir, please.
Right. Okay. First, thanks again for this opportunity and welcome all. I hope I'm audible. When the invitation came, the idea was to have a discussion and a Q&A session and not a one-way monologue. So we will try and keep it that way. The first question itself is a very interesting and fascinating question, which may need a separate session on its own, because as the doctor said, as the professor said, that there are digital natives, and people like me, gray hat people, are called digital migrants. We were born in the analog world. We were used to textbooks and book reading and the printed word, and then slowly got into radio and television, and then adapted to the digital world. So we are digital migrants, and then we are talking to largely digital natives on this program. So, and their outlook would be different. But my submission to everyone here is that while it may be so that we are living in a digital world, the fundamentals of marketing and running a business have not changed. When I mean running a business, it could be running an education institution, it could be a B2B service company, it could be a B2C consumer products company. The fundamentals of how to run a business, how to establish a brand, how to market a brand have remained the same and will remain the same for ages to come. That will not change. Only how we adapt to the to the times that are constantly changing is going to be the key challenge. Today, we talk about digital marketing, but actually it is not really digital marketing, because it should be marketing in a digital world. When television advertising became prominent, nobody said television marketing. It was just marketing, right? Television was new when it was launched. Okay, it caught the fancy of generations over the years. It took a while, but digital of course is because the speed at which people have adopted to digital is what is is a big challenge for marketers. So the first point that I wanted to convey is that fundamentals of marketing and communication and building a business or building a brand will remain the same, have remained the same, and they will not change. So I have a few slides to bring the the answers alive, because the question was about what are the changes and how do we adapt to the new digital world. So with your permission, I will share my screen where I have a presentation which answers a few of these questions. Right? Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very much visible.
Okay. So I will start the session. Thought it would be appropriate if I were to bring alive what I'm trying to say by sharing my views and sharing, to the audience here about what Stanford Graduate School of Business has done when it comes to marketing communication. Now, as you can see over there, their tagline or the vision that they have put out is change lives, change organizations, change the world. That is a fantastic summation of what they set out to achieve. It is not just about getting someone or some education or acquiring a degree. It's about enabling somebody to go and change the world. That is the grand vision that they have outlined in their website. Now, what I'm going to share next is a video that is about 4 minutes long. It was published, or it was released first 9 years ago. And I would like everyone in this session to pay attention to every word that is being said in the video. That is the next video that I'm going to play. Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I think it is stuck somewhere. 1 minute. I'm sorry. I think I have a problem with my. Sorry, I'll start again. Yeah. So it's visible now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is the video.
Most of our decisions, whether we like it or not, most of our actions, most of our behavior, most of our experiences are constantly being shaped at the instinctual level. I would argue that about 90 to 95% of our decisions, even important decisions, you might think that you're being rational, but keep in mind that if you pit the rational brain against the emotional brain, in general, it is the emotional brain that is going to win out. In fact, I have this quote out there which says that the rational brain it's not good at being rational. What it is good at is simply rationalize what the emotional brain has already decided to do. And therefore, it behooves us to understand the workings of the instinctual, the emotional brain. Neuromodulators like serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, etc., have a significant impact on who we are. Even, for example, who we are in the morning compared to who we are in the afternoon. And that has a huge significance in terms of the nature of the decisions that we make in the morning versus in the afternoon. The answer to this question is that, in general, it is far better off scheduling your decision-making in the morning, because that's when the natural levels of serotonin, the natural levels of dopamine. Serotonin is the calming chemical. Dopamine is the excitatory chemical. Serotonin levels are going to be normal, because when you wake up in the morning, serotonin levels are going to be high. As a result of which, you can start taking chances. You're less risk-averse. Whereas what happens as the day begins to progress is that there's a natural decline in the level of serotonin, as a result of which, when you're making decisions in the afternoon, you will tend to be more risk-averse. And therefore, there'll be a tendency to gravitate towards what we call the status quo, the classic status quo bias. And the status quo bias will manifest in the form of an indecision. And that's why you'll see that very often when you're making decisions, important decisions, especially late in the afternoon, very often you end up postponing those decisions because you like to stick to the status quo. Sleep is extremely critical. Why? Because there's one phase of sleep called deep sleep or slow wave sleep. And this is where our natural levels of serotonin, dopamine, etc., come back to normal. And therefore, if you don't get good quality sleep, what I mean by that is good quality deep sleep or slow wave sleep, you're likely to end up waking up in the morning with lower levels of serotonin, as a result of which you're more likely to be in a type 1 mindset, fearful, more likely to make decisions out of fear, more likely to be risk averse, etc. Previously, people thought that what fitness does is it releases endorphins in the brain because we all feel good after a workout. Turns out it is really not endorphins. Turns out that it's actually a precursor to serotonin that is released when you are going through a fitness workout, and therefore it's nature's way to keep our levels of serotonin and dopamine high during the day. I always advise people to have a high protein breakfast, good quality protein. It could be a whey protein, it could be egg protein, egg white, for example. Why? Because as the day begins to progress, right? You had your breakfast like at 7 o'clock in the morning, as the day begins to progress, all these other amino acids are getting absorbed past the blood-brain barrier. One of the last ones to be released and get absorbed is tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin. So which means that if you had a high-quality protein breakfast in the morning, by the time you're hitting about 11:30, when you're going to expect a down, is when you're going to get a serotonin boost, and therefore you're as effective making decisions at the middle of the day as you are in the morning.
Right. So that was a video that was released about 9 years ago. And today, if you were to go and visit the Stanford Graduate School of Business YouTube channel, you will find hundreds of videos which have topics ranging from communicating uncertainty, API strategies. Then there are TED like talks and so on and so forth. So, so you may wonder why a professor of marketing is speaking about what kind of breakfast to have, and serotonin levels, etc. And then you realize that it all fits back into their overall claim or overall promise of changing the world, and they're trying to take that forward in whichever channel that they are present in, what is typically called the omni-channel marketing. And if you look at their blog on their website, you have the insight topics ranging from accounting to big data to career and success, corporate governance, leadership, management, marketing, and so on. And then I took a particular blog, and it was about what separates the hit makers from the one-hit wonders. And it was an analysis of 3 million songs, which explores the question, is it better to churn out than to fade away? And there were some interesting charts about the number of career hit counts over the years from Elton John, Beyonce, and others. And then the interesting article about the whole topic. And then there, because we're talking about a university born in Coimbatore, I thought I will, share this. This is a profile of Malli Coimbatore, who is a MSX class of 2021 graduate at Stanford. His hometown is Coimbatore, and he was the CEO of a media company called Starcom in India. And then he went on to work with Walt Disney. And currently he's in California working for a product marketing firm in video business. And they have highlighted, his profile on their website. And if you look at their Instagram page, because Instagram happens to be a visually rich platform, giving you opportunity to showcase, your product or service in a visually engaging manner. Beautiful photographs of the campus, are shown over there, along with people pictures of people joining, at the university, and capturing candid moments. And then, like in the blog, they've also taken the profile of Malli Coimbatore onto their Instagram page, and then, as you can see there, they have tagged the photographer. There's GSB Life hashtag over there. There's some interesting comments, 275 likes, and so on. So you see all that over there. And then I want to pause here and stop the share and ask people, what is it that they're trying to do by putting out videos about decision making, breakfast. Then there is the blog on their website, the Instagram page, YouTube videos. What is it that they're trying to achieve? Any views? People can comment on the chat box. Firstly, was the video interesting?
Yes, sir. It is interesting. Very interesting.
What was the key takeaways from that video for somebody who's watched it for the first time? Okay, yes, somebody said marketing is a holistic approach. Yes. What are they trying to do by being present on Instagram in a particular way, or YouTube? And I'm sure they have podcasts, they have blogs. What are they trying to achieve? Any comments from anybody? Catering to the entire cross section of the, yes, correct, true. Anything else? Anybody? Any other observations? Right. So I have put on. Yes, please. Can I go ahead?
Sir, I have one point to say, that is how to frame their marketing strategies to analyze the consumer decision making, because in the recent past we have seen the companies who have been targeting the advertisement in the morning times, right? Or advertisement, they can target some of the companies in the evening time. So they find, especially during the COVID culture, during the work at home culture,
Right.
people will be in the home, and specifically some companies like ITC and companies, this
Correct.
product they've been targeting both morning and as well as the evening.
True.
So
correct. Somebody said correct. Somebody also said that they improve their goodwill, keeping up the connect with the audience. All of them are correct. My observation, about this whole exercise, and the reason why I wanted to share this with you at the beginning of the presentation is that Stanford is not a new brand. It has been around for hundreds of years, right? And they have established their reputation and credibility in the pre-digital era, right? They have earned their premium reputation through word of mouth. When I mean word of mouth, people who have passed out of Stanford have become brand ambassadors. So I'm not an MBA, by the way, if I'm a Stanford graduate, if I go out into the corporate world, I'm proud to say I'm a Stanford alumni. And their alumni have become CEOs, probably become CEOs, they've done well in academia, in research, and so on. And they established a very strong brand pull for Stanford. Yes, there are other similar brands out there in the US, whether it is a Harvard or Columbia Business School and so on and so forth. But Stanford has established a brand property of their own. All this in the pre-digital era. The point I'm trying to make here is that in the digital world, they have adapted their marketing strategy to be present in channels and platforms that are relevant to their core target audience. Who is their core target audience? Of course, it is MBA students or aspiring MBA students who, of course, can afford to go to Stanford. But their audience are also senior corporates. They may want to send their senior managers for executive education. They may want to hire from Stanford, so that in India, for example, there is always a premium for a certain kind of management institute when corporates are hiring, right? Whether it is an IIM, for example, or ISB, and in technical colleges there is IIT, and and so on and so forth. So their audience is both aspiring MBA students as well as corporate decision makers for whom hiring is going to be important. Okay, and when you know that you're from a Stanford, there's already a filter that is applied, saying, okay, this person has to be good. And therefore, they want to convey that they are the voice of authority in that particular domain that they're operating in. So whether it is to do with decision-making ability or marketing, they want to come across as thought leaders, provide voice of authority. And so second observation that I have, and which I've outlined here, is to be true to their vision. Yeah, staying true to their vision statement of changing the world, okay, and adding value or knowledge or insights to their core audience, which I outlined. And they have also used the strengths of every platform or medium, videos, in-depth articles, images. But some companies, just because there is an Instagram available, they will say, let us be present on Instagram. But how you use Instagram is the key differentiator, not just being present. So they've done that well. Then they have kept the benefit to the user at the center of their marketing. Not just saying who we are, how great we are. It's about what can you gain from interacting with us. So that's been their approach overall. So in that context, so Stanford is a brand. So I thought I will go back to the basics and talk about what is a brand. There are several examples and several definitions out there on the internet. But what I found to be value is a simple statement saying a brand is a collection of thoughts and feelings in the mind of the consumer. And you can apply it to any brand that comes to your mind. It could be a watch brand, it could be a educational brand, it could be a hotel brand, and it's or a political brand, a personal brand. It's a collection of thoughts and feelings in the mind of the consumer. So I'm going to pause here and ask you all what comes to your mind immediately when you see the names in the next slide, and I'm going to go one by one, and then you can key in your the images or words that come to your mind in the chat box, and then we can review them. So I'm going to not say anything more. I'm just going to show the names. Disney, CSK, which is Chennai Super Kings, Pothys, retail brand, iPhone, Dhoni, Jio, Mercedes, Tirupur. So what would be your images or first cut words that come to your mind when I shared those names? Disney, Dhoni, CSK, Tirupur, iPhone, Mercedes. So happiness, success was for what? Which brand? Okay, Mickey Mouse, yes, for Disney, excellent. Textiles design, I would imagine, for Tirupur. Any other observations? Any other immediate associations that come to your mind? CSK, success, great, yeah. Promise for iPhone, yes. And again, I'm just thinking aloud. For example, somebody might say yellow as a color for CSK, right? Because there's a very powerful association that they have built over the years. Or Whistle Podu as a property, right? If you follow IPL, if you're a cricket fan, they created this, the property called Whistle Podu in their social communication. Leadership, somebody mentioned. Jio means mobile internet. Yes, they were the ones who brought in 4G and made it accessible to everybody. Before Jio, it was considered to be a rich man's service, whereas now everybody can use a mobile phone and access videos through Jio services. So and if you observe, I have not said anything about those names. I have just put on those names without their logos, without their any other associations, but yet there are deep emotional associations. Somebody said Dhoni, cool captain. Okay, did I say it? No, but it's there. It's in their mind. Somebody said leadership for some brand. So the point I'm trying to make is that these are very powerful associations, and they have been built over time, even before the digital era. Okay, in marketing, there is a concept called distinct brand assets. So what are the distinct brand assets that you as a brand, when I mean, your institution, somebody has to unmute, please. Yeah. What are the distinct brand assets? It could be a color, it could be a tagline, it could be a brand property. What are the distinct assets that you can own as a brand is going to be key. When I say Nike, I'm sure everybody would say just do it, right? Earlier, Kodak as a brand owned yellow as a color. Okay. So like that, you can think of what are the distinct brand assets that a brand can own, and how best can we use a particular platform to our advantage. So those were some of the points that I wanted to make in this slide about associations and images that are associated with a particular brand. And another important or interesting definition comes from Seth Godin, who's a marketer himself. He says, a brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that taken together, and this is important, account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another. If the consumer, whether it's a business, a buyer, a voter, or a donor, doesn't pay a premium, make a selection, or spread the word, then no brand value exists for that consumer. So I think this is a very powerful definition. Okay, the key being, does it account for the consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another? That is the key thing, right? And over the years, I have come to the conclusion that thoughts and feelings are driven by product or service experience, communication experience, and word of mouth. Let me bring that alive. Let us say that you decide to go on a holiday, and because after 2 years of being stuck at home at COVID, you want to enjoy a 5-star holiday, and you're going to think of an Oberoi property versus a Taj property, and you visit their website. Okay, obviously you may have heard something good things about these two brands from others. So you have expectations from the service, you have expectations from the product. But when you visit the website, you also expect the website to be exclusive, to be premium. So the communication experience has to match that experience. And of course, the word of mouth. If people say, no, don't go to that particular property of Taj, I'm just saying, because it is bad, I didn't have a good experience, you're going to be biased against it. So the thoughts and feelings are driven by these three things, and these are applicable to any brand, whether it is a B2B or B2C. Okay, so therefore, what's not changed? Marketing is the delivery of customer satisfaction at a profit. And this is true of the pre-digital world and the digital world. Okay, and if you look at any of these brands out there, whether it's a Coke or a Parley or Nike, Samsung, TCS, Infosys, or Stanford Business that I mentioned, they all aim to deliver customer satisfaction at a profit, right? That is a common thing. And another important aspect of marketing is that it creates a brand preference, even if it means paying a premium. So let us take an example of a document that you have to send to Delhi today, and it has to reach Delhi tomorrow by any means. You have an option of paying a few extra rupees to go to FedEx, or a neighborhood Xerox store, who says, I can also courier a document. What are you likely to choose? You are likely to choose the FedEx brand because you know that there is a credibility associated with it, even though there is a premium, right? So whether it's a top university or a luxury hotel, marketing creates a brand preference, even if it means paying a premium. It also helps in creating a positive brand equity, even when there is a marginal or difference in product or service quality between competing brands. I spoke about Parley in the earlier slide. One of the famous brands is Parley G, glucose biscuit. Now, do we really believe that a glucose biscuit is so different in product quality that it has the kind of affinity and product equity that it has? I'm sure there are equally good other glucose biscuits, but there is something about Parley G equity that has loyalty, right? So even when there is marginal or no difference, like in the case of a B2B tech services, when a large enterprise chooses Infosys to handle their digital transformation, what really separates Infosys from, say, a TCS or a Deloitte? There cannot be a hugely tangible difference. There is marginal or intangible difference that comes into play, and that's where marketing plays a role. Okay, and a positive brand equity also helps brands weather occasional storms, and when there is a product or service failure. Last year, for example, or was it this year? You would recollect that there was a lot of negative feedback about the income tax portal of Infosys, right? There was a lot of negative press about how the portal was not working. The government had to step in, and so on and so forth. But has it really dented the positive equity of brand Infosys? I'm not so sure, because people probably would see it as a glitch that that would be set right. Their past track record and would play a role. So a positive brand equity also helps brands overcome these hiccups or service failures and PR disasters, as witnessed in in the case of Nestle or Cadbury. They have been through the Maggi noodles disaster, or the Cadbury's worm story, and I'm sure if you search on the internet, you will find more details. And a good positive brand equity has helped these brands overcome these PR disasters. So that's the fundamentals of why a brand is important and what marketing can do to a brand. Right now, another question to the audience. As I said, I'd like to keep this interactive and not a one-way speech. Can you name a few successful brands launched in the past 10 years? And I'm going to stop my share and wait for some feedback. Any brand that you think in the last 10 years? Okay, ID, that is that. Okay, Swiggy, great. Okay, what else? Dunzo, Dunzo you would mean, right? The person who typed Daiso. Yeah, Amazon. Okay, not last 10 years in India, but I guess it's been around for more than that. Ola, okay, yes. Uber. Okay. Toyota, last 10 years, not so sure. Okay, Oppo, yes. Anything in the EdTech brand? Because of COVID, people have gone to online classes and so on and so forth. Yeah, Byju's, yeah. Somebody mentioned Byju's, Vedantu, and so on. So what is it that is common to all of these brands that we think are successful in the last launch in the last 10 years? We've not heard of them before 10 years, right? So what is it that is common to all of these? Any thoughts on that? Yeah, customer centric. Okay, what else? Young audience, very good point. Technology driven, yes, correct. Absolutely right. Somebody has mentioned address the problem, John C. Prabhu. Yes, they identified a particular need or an opportunity and a problem, a pain point, and said, we will solve that, right? So that is what is, I also had in mind when I put on these as the common factors about these brands, and probably my examples, reflect some of the responses there. Unacademy, Swiggy, OnePlus, AirPods as a brand, Byju's, Zomato, Hotstar, Paytm. They have all identified a pain point and helped by good marketing. But the point is, no amount of good marketing can sell a bad product, or one for which there is no need or no product market fit. If it is not solving a problem, if it is not addressing a pain point or a need that is already there, it is bound to fail. I'm going to talk about this example later in detail, but I will just mention quickly in this context. When the COVID-19 pandemic began and we were all, full of fear, Zodiac launched a brand of shirts which was supposed to be, anti-COVID virus, right? To anybody, it would appear that it was like a gimmick. It was, trolled badly on Twitter. Advertising Standards Council of India took notice of it, and that is an example of how there was no product market fit. Somebody saw an opportunity, but they were opportunistic, and there were no takers for this. But during COVID, we all bought our hand sanitizers, we all bought our masks, we all did things that were relevant to us that addressed the pain point. We maintained safe distance, so home delivery became common. So unless there is a product market fit, no amount of good marketing can sell a bad product. So this is an ad from the 1990s, which says, despite what some people think, advertising can't make you buy something you don't need. Yeah. So, and there was a visual of a woman, shaving, right? As a converse to that, good advertising kills a bad product faster. If you're going to hype, through a well-produced campaign, but if the product does not meet, a market needs, it's going to kill the product faster, for sure, right? So in this context, because I began by saying that some concepts have not changed, I'm going to talk about a few basic eternal principles of marketing and communication. Number one is that the fundamental motivations of humans will remain the same forever. Human beings are not going to change. Our fundamental emotions are not going to change. Even from the from the era of Neanderthal man, basic instinct of survival, of seeking happiness, seeking success, taking care of our near and dear ones. Those are fundamental motivations. Bill Bernbach said, it is fashionable to talk about changing man. A communicator must be concerned with unchanging man, with his obsessive drive to survive, to be admired, to succeed, to love, to take care of his own. Why am I, doing this session? Deep down, I also want to be admired, right? So why is somebody taking a course on Coursera? They want to succeed in their career, right? Why is somebody buying a car which promises, airbags? Because they want to take care of their family, right? Why is somebody buying insurance? They want to take care of their family. Why is somebody saving for education of their, daughters? So these are all human instincts that are not going to change. So marketers must address this fundamental principle first. And I'm going to play an ad from Thailand, which brings us alive.
ผมอยากมีเวลามากกว่านี้เวลาที่จะบอกลูกผมว่าผมรักเขามากที่สุดในโลกลุกขึ้นมาลุกแค่นิดเดียวเราลูกผู้ชายน่ะอยากใช้เวลาเข้าใจเขามากกว่านี้เพราะผมท่านเองแค่ไปมั่วสุมดนตรีนั่นแหละบ้านเรื่องอยากฟังในสิ่งที่เขาอยากพูดแน่ได้ใช่ไหมออกไปอยากคุยอยากฟังเพลงของเขาอยากขอโทษ
Wow, it's a fantastic ad, and it is, conveys how important it is to do things that you love and, not hold back. And, insurance gives you the... Sorry? Did somebody say anything?
Please, sir, go ahead.
Sir, you can carry on.
Yeah. So it conveys why insurance gives you a peace of mind to, to chase your dreams and to allow your near and dear ones to chase their dreams. So I thought it was a beautiful ad, which, tugs you at your heartstrings, and it probably brings tears, right? So it is a powerful emotional ad, and these kind of ads will not go out of fashion, whether it is the digital world or, analog world. And the second principle is that to find a way to say relevant things in a compelling way at the right time on the right platform. Now, how many of us have been irritated by getting a notification, at the middle of the night from your bank about your balance or something like that, which is totally irrelevant at the wrong time, right? So it is about saying relevant things, compelling way, at the right time, on the right platform. So, and this again is not going to change, right? In the 1950s, an ad man called Howard Gossard said, nobody reads ads. People read what interests them. Sometimes it's an ad. I thought it was a fantastic, beautiful statement, which is timeless. You can extrapolate that today. Nobody reads a blog. People read what interests them. It could be a blog, right? Nobody watches a video on YouTube. It could, the people watch what interests them. It could be a trailer of a movie. It could be an instructional video. It could be a how-to. It could be a product review. If it is interesting, they will watch it. If it is interesting, they will read it. So that applies to Instagram, YouTube, a presentation, a tweet, an ad, and so on and so forth. So I thought this is again something that we should keep in the back of our heads. This is an ad from the 1920s, I think. It's considered a classic in direct response advertising. It is written by a gentleman called John Caples. It is for piano lessons, and again it addresses the fundamental emotions that that I spoke about earlier. The headline says, it's considered a classic headline, "They laughed when I sat down at the piano, but when I started to play," and it leaves there. So the idea is to say that in a large gathering, people are likely to ridicule you if they think that you're going to be a good pianist, but when you start playing and when you impress them, they shut up. And it helps you achieve that kind of expertise in piano playing was the idea. And it was captured so well, because it struck a chord. And all of us must have been through this when, when you're asked to make a presentation, you're nervous, you don't know whether you're going to do well, but when you, appreciate it, it boosts your confidence, right? So that is what is, at play here. This is an ad for Nivea. It's a, it's a cream that promises anti-wrinkles and anti-aging, and therefore the concept is it pauses your aging, and the hand movement is of how you swipe cream from a dabba of Nivea is what it cues pause also. It's a clever ad, it's without any word of copy, it conveys pause and aging, stopping aging, through being an anti-wrinkle product, right? The third principle is that there is no substitute for deep understanding of the consumer's pain points and aspirations, which evolve constantly. Like somebody talked about the EdTech revolution, because there was a pain point. I could not go to attend a class, so the class came to me at home. So there was a pain point. Similarly, food delivery, and so many other industries have gone through dramatic change because they understood the consumer's pain points and aspirations, and they evolved constantly. And it is not just about technology. It's about understanding business trends also. For example, Titan Group has a brand called Fast Track, right, which is aimed at the youth. It started off as a brand that spoke the youth language, fashionable watches. Then it moved on to accessories. Now they've launched their, the smart bands, fitness trackers, and so on and so forth. They've constantly understood the consumer pain points and evolved. So they have kept pace. The fourth point is that a communication based on a true insight is likely to find a stronger resonance. Now, the likely question is, what is an insight? An insight is a penetrating observation about the consumer behavior that can be applied to unlock growth. And I will bring that alive through a couple of examples. For example, the insight which Snickers operates on is in between meal hunger makes us irritable and act out of character. I'm sure we've all been there. If you've had an early morning breakfast, your lunch, maybe a breakfast at 7 o'clock, your lunch is at 1 o'clock, around 11:30, which is now probably you're hungry, and hunger typically makes us irritable, right? And we've all heard of the term hangry, hunger plus angry, and we snap at people, and then we are irritable, and we act out of character. And they have used this insight very well in the tagline, "You're not you when you're hungry." And there's a long-running campaign in the US, and they brought it alive through this activity in UK when they wanted to launch this. This is the video.
One quiet Sunday afternoon, we asked a celebrity to send 5 short tweets. 3 days later, they were mentioned in Parliament.
It's come to something when Katie Price's tweets make more sense on the economy than the Labour front bench.
We've been asked to launch Snickers' global campaign, "You're Not You When You're Hungry," in the UK. Instead of TV, we decided to use Twitter. We asked 5 celebrities to tweet out of character. Katie Price, famous for her modelling, tweeted about macroeconomics.
Sir, I think we are not getting the audio.
Oh, sorry.
People were surprised. and responded immediately.
Sorry, let me just sort that out. There's no audio, is it?
Now it's coming, sir.
Sorry?
Now it's coming, sir. Now
No,
it's
when the
coming.
video is playing, there's no audio, is it?
No, only just
No, no,
last-
it went off in the middle, sir.
Oh, okay. I'll play again. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
One quiet Sunday afternoon,
Is it
we asked a
audible now?
celebrity to send
Yeah, yeah,
5
very well.
short tweets. 3 days later, they were mentioned in Parliament.
It's come to something when Katie Price's tweets make more sense on the economy than the Labour front bench.
We've been asked to launch Snickers' global campaign, You're Not You When You're Hungry, in the UK. Instead of TV, we decided to use Twitter. We asked 5 celebrities to tweet out of character. Katie Price, famous for her modelling, tweeted about macroeconomics.
Now again, it is not coming, sir. Yeah.
People were surprised and
Yeah,
responded immediately. One tweet was retweeted 1,400 times. Even the BBC's economics correspondent joined in. Then the final tweet revealed the campaign endline. National newspapers reported the story. Then England footballer Rio Ferdinand tweeted about his new hobby, knitting. Once again, these out-of-character tweets provoked a huge response. Twitter had never been used like this. There were complaints, but in a landmark ruling, the Advertising Standards Authority cleared Snickers. And a campaign of just 25 tweets ended up reaching 26 million people. Online, in newspapers, on TV, on radio, and in Parliament.
Right. So you get the idea of how the property of "You're Not You When You're Hungry" was used so creatively on a platform like Twitter by getting people to tweet out of character. So imagine if it was to be launched in India today, asking cricketer Ravichandran Ashwin to tweet about, I don't know, Bharatanatyam, right? So that is what hunger does to you, is what the idea was, and they brought it alive on a medium like Twitter. Then this is another, case study, which is about Always, which is a brand of sanitary pads, and the inside there is a girl's confidence drops significantly during puberty, and how we are not aware of that, how sensitive that can be, and how we need to be conscious of this fact was brought alive in this experiment. This is called Like a Girl, and it's a very popular video, and this is how the case study went.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going to just give you some actions to do and just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
Here.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
Aw. My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
So do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. I mean, yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
Is like a girl a good thing?
Actually, I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. It sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like you're trying to humiliate someone.
So when they're in that vulnerable time between 10 and 12, how do you think it affects them when somebody uses like a girl as an insult?
I think it definitely drops their self-confidence and really puts them down, because during that time, they're already trying to figure themselves out. And when somebody says you hit like a girl, it's like, well, what does that mean? Because they think they're a strong person. It's kind of like telling them that they're weak and they're not as good as them.
And what advice do you have to young girls who are told they run like a girl, kick like a girl, hit like a girl, swim like a girl?
Keep doing it because it's working. If somebody else says that running like a girl or kicking like a girl or shooting like a girl is something that you shouldn't be doing, that's their problem. Because if you're still scoring and you're still getting to the ball on time and you're still being first, you're doing it right. Doesn't matter what they say. I mean, yes, I kick like a girl and I swim like a girl and I walk like a girl and I wake up in the morning like a girl because I am a girl. And that's not something that I should be ashamed of. So I'm going to do it anyway. That's what they should do.
If I asked you to run like a girl now, would you do it differently?
I would run like myself.
Would you like a chance to redo it?
Why can't run like a girl also mean win the race?
Right. So that was an iconic campaign from Procter & Gamble for Always. I thought it was brilliant because the way they, showed the contrast of how boys think like a girl means doing something so different, and what the actual girls do. I thought it was a brilliant way of putting the point across. So another familiar brand is Nike. And their insight is that it's not just the championship athlete or record breaker that strives to push their own limits. I mean, we are all regular folks with pot bellies, unhealthy folks. We are not six-pack, athletes, all of us. And we can also be motivated or urged to push our own limits. Just do it encapsulates that. And this is an ad which brings it alive beautifully.
Greatness, it's just something we made up. Somehow we've come to believe that greatness is a gift reserved for a chosen few, for prodigies, for superstars. And the rest of us can only stand by watching. You can forget that. Greatness is not some rare DNA strand. It's not some precious thing. Greatness is no more unique to us than breathing. We're all capable of it. All of us.
Yeah, so that was a brilliant piece of creative that brought alive the insight that they had. The other common factor, whether it's the traditional advertising or the digital advertising, is exploiting a medium or platform to its advantage. And I'm going to just outline quickly, characteristics of the few common platforms. Television has audio-video impact. We all know that. When you watch a movie, the mix of the song and the music and the dialogues and the whole atmosphere sometimes makes us cry, stirs emotions, makes us laugh, gives us the chills. We have gooseflesh, right? So similar impact on television. It stirs emotions. It's great for mass reach because it is by far the most popular medium, at least in a country like India. So it's great for memorability, repetition. That's why you find a lot of new brands that have been launched recently go on to IPL because they can reach a large audience at one go. And it is also considered a lean back medium because the traditional television is watched on your sofa or comfortable chair when you're relaxed and you're leaning back and you're consuming entertainment. Print is, has the credibility of the printed word. We associate newspapers to be disseminators of news. Therefore, printed word has the credibility. It can convey information. For example, you can have an ad with 500 words of copy, or even just 10 words of copy. It's up to us, right? It can urge call for action, call now, cut a coupon, visit a store. It's a lean forward medium. Let's say you're in the market for buying a laptop, and tomorrow morning you see a nice ad from a Dell laptop with an exchange, your old laptop kind of a program. You are going to be interested. You are going to be lean forward and looking at the print medium. So that's a lean forward medium. Outdoor is considered a fleeting medium where you're driving past it. You need to catch attention and convey a message in a few seconds. The thumb rule is 8 words. And then it's great for localization. If you want to do, if you offer computer classes in a local area in Coimbatore, you can put out hoardings in that area only, or in the other parts of Coimbatore, right? So localization is good in outdoor. Radio is a background companion typically. When you're driving or when you're at home, radio is at the background, music is playing. It has the power to involve the audience through voice and music and transport you to another world. Digital has scope for interactivity, technically, but it's very poor on delivery. Typical banner ads click-through rates are 0.2%, 0.3%. It's very low, okay, because there is clutter and intrusiveness. Again, personalization is a technical possibility. When I'm visiting, let's say, a portal like Cricinfo, if I'm interested in, in cricket gear, they can show a cricket gear ad for me. Technically, yes, it can also show ads relevant to my interests, but still there is, spray and pray kind of an approach in digital marketing also. And that medium is filled with bots. So when brands are buying ads, it is not humans that are actually seeing the ad, but bots, and they've been trained to do that. So there is a lot of wastage and fraud in this medium. So in this context, television, I'm going to show a couple of examples. I'm going to show a couple of ads, which one is from Australia, and move straight to that.
It's just forms my partner, right? Yeah, well, that's the reason back against it, mate. I got my mysteries on. Hey, you know, thanks. What you doing on the week? Just going down and catch a bit of fish. He's fast. Hey, mate, stay in the team. He's having a rough trot now. He'll be fine. What are we going to do with those? I'm going. Well, I haven't driven to the pub in years. Ed, bring the missus to pick me up. Bring it out. Call a cab? No, I'm just around the corner. Gotta go, mate. See you. You up it in? Walking. Hey, walking. That's the racing service report. Wherever you live, number 5, then Panda. Forest car. Second to number 1.
Stand on the back line. Take the hand up. Go and ask for cigarettes. You'll get them later.
Okay, cuffs off. Listen in. When you hear your name called, I want your date of birth. Paul Oakley.
10/7/71.
5 years with a 3-year minimum. Joe McGuinness. 769. 10 to 12 months. Scott Shoebury. 27/9/72. Okay. Whilst you're in this prison, if you have any concerns about your safety, see one of the staff members and we'll deal with it.
So this was a campaign that was very successful in Australia. If you drink and drive, you're a bloody idiot. That was a hard-hitting, almost insulting baseline. But that is what was needed, because in India, if you don't drink and drive, has become such a common baseline that people don't take it seriously. So it had to shake people up and stop them from drinking and driving, and it was hugely successful in reducing traffic accidents in Australia. This is an ad which brings alive the power of the audio-visual medium.
So tell me about yourself.
An organized person, somebody who does not need details. I'm actually very, very good with groups. I surpassed all my goals in my previous position, my prior job, the competitor. All my personnel under me have surpassed their own goals.
So here the idea is to say that the stain on your shirt is actually a distraction and attracts more attention than what you're saying. And that's a brilliant way of communicating through a mix of audio and video, right? typically, and I will run through some of the examples quickly before I come to the changes in the digital world. Outdoor typically has visual impact, and because it is fleeting medium, it has to be shot in pithy. This is an ad for BBC's show Dracula. During daytime, it looks like this, a bunch of knives stuck on the hoarding, and there's fake blood out there. But because of the lighting in the night, it has a reflection of Dracula, who's supposed to come out at night. So it brings alive the idea through a simple, technique of lighting in outdoor. This is Hot Wheels, where we see toy cars as something that we peer down on. But if hoarding, a Hot Wheels can look at us like as if we were the toy car. So that's a brilliant concept. And we're all familiar with the Amul hoardings, which are topicals, and this was done when the baby was announced. So Virushka on the way, butter for beta or beti, that is what Amul said. This is from the 1980s for a brand called Araldite, which is like Fevicol. They actually put up a car, hoarding, and it says it also sticks handles to teapots. That is what typically a Fevicol or like product is used for. And then a week later, they just said the suspense continues. A week after that, they put another car on top of it and said the tension mounts. And then a week later, they pulled both off and said, how did we pull it off? And all this got a lot of media press. And you can imagine this in the Instagram world where this can be shared and reshared and so on. So this was in the 1980s. So the basic concept, right? I will skip this example and move to print. Typically, print is about information. It has the potential to be charming because of the wordplay and wit as a visual impact. This is an ad from Volkswagen to say the adaptive cruise control helps cars maintain safe distance. Manslaughter versus man's laughter. That brings a smile but drives home the point of how distance is important. This is an ad which appeared in the Sun, and the headline says, "Dad, I know you read the Sun, so I thought it would be a good place to say, stop smoking or you might die, and I don't want you to die." So imagine a reader of Sun reading this, and it's like his son speaking. So it's brilliant from the NHS in the UK. This says, if you cross at a pedestrian crossing, when the red man shows, your kids will copy you. And the same thing has been written in kids' handwriting to convey the point that kids copy what the parents do. And we all see it in our cities now when parents drop their kids home driving on the wrong side of the road or crossing or violating traffic rules. So this conveys that your kids will learn from you. So be careful of how you behave in front of them. Radio's involvement is happened despite being a background companion because of the use of audio. And it's a great example I'm going to show next.
Your 4 times more likely to crash when you're on a mobile phone. You're 4 times more likely to crash when you're on a mobile phone. You're 4 times more likely to have a crash when you're on a mobile phone. It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at the same time. From December the 1st, it'll be illegal to use a handheld mobile phone when driving. Think. Switch it off before you drive.
Right. So this brought alive the idea of how 2 voices makes it difficult to figure out who's speaking and what they're saying, and drove home the point. So what has changed between traditional and new advertising? That was the first question that was asked. So in the old media world, if I were to summarize the key characteristics, it was a one-way message. Brands sent a message to the consumer through print, TV, radio, or outdoor. And mass reach was the goal. And brand awareness, brand affinity as key communication goals and key metrics that they were chasing. And brands made claims in advertising. I wash whitest, I am the cheapest, I am the fastest, whatever were the claims made. And we're all familiar with these advertising, whether it's Fair and Lovely or Cadbury's or Pepsi and other brands. What has changed? The trigger of the change was the rise of the web, mobile, and digital platforms. In fact, in 2002, it was captured by Time when they said they put a transparent sheet of paper on the cover and said, "You are the person of the year because you control the information age, the reader." How do we do that? it's easier for consumers to ignore your message. Even right now, if you're bored, you can completely walk away, from this presentation. I have no control. And similarly with the banner ad, you can ignore it. Media and clutter, information overload, with the 24/7 news channels, the YouTube videos, Instagram stories, your Facebook, your WhatsApp, Twitter, there is absolute information overload. So that is going to affect brand communication. And the consumer has continuous partial attention. I'm sure even as you speak, even as I speak, you are attending to some messages on your phone, some notification, something else. When you are watching IPL on your television, probably you're checking the reaction on Twitter or Facebook, what your friends are saying on WhatsApp. So it is continuous partial attention. And we are all under the microscope and can be criticized, whether it's a politician, businessman, or a presenter like me. If you don't like my presentation, you can go to Twitter or Facebook and say that was a lousy presentation, right? So we are all under the microscope and can be criticized, and that's true of brands. So when a brand puts out a wonderful ad, like let's say if it is Airtel, in YouTube, you will find a comment saying that stop wasting money on these ads, improve the network first, right? So everybody's under criticism because its commenting is free. Then it's easy to find information and cross-check claims. Today, if I'm saying that Oppo is going to launch tomorrow with the world's highest resolution camera, you're going to Google it and check whether the claim is true or not. Your competition is not just your business competitor, but content out there in general. So let's say if your business school wants to attract audience on Instagram or on YouTube, your competition is not just another business school. Your competition is content that is over there, put out by ordinary people, put out by other brands in other categories. So the content in general is competition. And today, attention is the currency that we speak beyond anything else. Okay. And consumers are going to be cynical, will not believe all that a brand says because they have Google to check, they have other opinion leaders to follow, so on and so forth. And niche audiences are easier to find and reach through technology and new platforms. So I spoke about Stanford. Now, I'm sure they would have had a podcast going on Spotify because Spotify is a popular platform. Technology is used over there. Okay. Similarly, this is another example that I want to show. It's about, I think, 2 minutes.
God, the thing I hate most out of everything on this planet are radio ads.
You could be the happiest human being in the world, jamming out to a great playlist. Oh no! Are you trying to listen to your playlist? You silly.
The #1 air freshener brand gave music streaming ads a fresh take. And instead of killing people's vibe, we hacked the system with music. Like really good music. So instead of this, they would listen to this. Instead of this. This. To offer users a truly undisruptive experience, 100 million songs were analyzed across the 3 largest music streaming platforms. All of this data was divided into 12 different musical trends. Then an AI coded the sonic DNA of each of these groupings to create 12 original scores that would seamlessly slip into every single person's playlist. People loved the fresh approach. No one is fresh yet if Febreze songs were played over 1 billion times, reaching more than 100 million people. Then artists started to sing about it spontaneously. Even Drake sang about it. Now that's refreshing.
Hi, I was wondering what song you just played.
Oh, that was actually a Febreze commercial.
That was how they hacked the typical radio spot that we are all tired of listening on radio, where they converted into music, like the playlist. And this is all happening because of a concept called ZMOT, propounded by Google. And prior to this, there was something called FMOT, propounded by Procter & Gamble, which said that first moment of truth is when we come across a brand in a shopping aisle in a store by looking at the packaging. We judge a brand by that first moment when we see its packaging. Google said there's something called ZMOT, which is zero moment of truth, where we have Google as a search engine to search for any information that we want before the purchase, right? So, like for example, I'm sure somebody may have Googled my name and figured out my background before attending this session to see whether it is worth it or not. Similarly, if you're going to buy a camera or a car, you're going to search on Google, look for reviews, etc., before you're going to actually make up your mind to buy that particular brand or not. So that is what has changed in the digital world in terms of impact. So overall, what is the implications for the brand and us? One, our actions matter more than claims or words. So you prove it to me. If you're going to say that you are concerned about the environment, you prove it to me. Don't just say, put out a pretty ad. Be of some value to your audience, whether it is entertainment, utility, being a guru, etc., you figure it out and be of some value. Be relevant, engaging, and consistent. Exploit a medium or platform's advantage. Brand advocacy, get people to talk about you or your product or service or your ad. Give something to your audience without expecting anything in return. And this is an example that I spoke about in terms of how an ad put out by a brand is put out a photo is taken and put out on Twitter. This is from Dunzo, and somebody said, saw a billboard in the airport of in Bangalore, airport to Indiranagar 16 minutes, groceries to your home 19 minutes. Love these marketing campaigns from Dunzo, and they tweeted about it. So that's how you become popular. You earn the consumer's affinity by doing such work, right? So summary, actions, not just words, being of some value to your audience. So that's broadly what I wanted to say in terms of the broad changes that have taken place between the pre-digital world and the digital world. Another example is FinShots, which is a brand that talks about making financial news simple. They also make money by selling insurance, but they have got about 500,000 subscribers who want to get that newsletter every day to make financial news simple. That's how they add value to people's lives. So I will stop here and take questions and see what are the other questions that I have.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Actually, we expect for a breakfast, but given a combo offer, and almost you covered most of my questions. So can I take up all the questions one by one, or I will go for important questions?
Yeah, I can go to, then I can talk. If I have anything relevant, I will share on screen.
Sure, sir. Sir, as you said about the digital marketing and also traditional marketing, the media habits, and how the companies can emphasize on creativity and smart marketing. So what is the change in the dynamics of digital communication that has taken place post-COVID? Because almost you said how the digital marketing have impacted Gen Z or millennials, or even the people who were born before 1980s also. So you want to say anything specifically, sir, with respect to COVID?
Yes, right. Firstly, on COVID, I would divide the answer into two parts. One is what brands did during COVID and what brands are doing now.
Fine.
So during COVID, I saw the trend of brands trying to take opportunity of the COVID situation and the fear, right? Several brands launched hand sanitizers because they saw an opportunity. Yardley, which is a beauty brand, people know of Yardley as a talcum powder, Yardley perfumes, and so on and so forth. Even they launched a hand sanitizer because they saw a business opportunity, right? Because everybody was buying, hand sanitizers, which is fine. But a Zodiac launched an antiviral shirt, which nobody's going to take that seriously. So that was a trend that happened, from a business perspective. Then in communication perspective, a lot of brands put out ads saying that we are with you, we will support you during this difficult time, etc. But for a consumer, that is not what they expect from a brand. If you're a shampoo brand, you sell shampoo. Don't come and tell me I'm with you and all that during COVID times, because that is somebody else's job. The government authorities, health authorities are supposed to take care of, all those issues, not a shampoo brand. But there was some good creative, good communication from brands which wanted to come across as responsible brands by telling people to maintain social distance, right? So they put out those kind of ads which made sense, saying that if you were to be responsible, maintain safe distance, etc. And I have got some examples to share with you on that. I will just take 1 minute on that.
Yes, sir.
During COVID, I will show a couple of examples. Right. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir. Very much.
Yeah. So this is an Instagram post that came from Uber, a company that moves people, is asking you not to move. Together we can stop this, right? And there was a stop signal, image that was put out on Instagram that fitted so well with the brand and the mood of the world at that point in time, and what they were urging people to do. This was another. This is the image of a car, Morris from the UK, and this was that Twitter header image. The car is parked in the garage. Stay home was the idea that they put out, right? Burger King, took a humorous route and says social distancing Whopper, the Whopper with triple onions that keeps others away from you. Okay, and that is a way of maintaining social distance, is what they can try to communicate. The new car sharing was what what Hyundai said in their tweet. In times like these, car sharing means sharing quality time together at home, where father and son are sharing time at home. And these were some of the the COVID-related communication that were put out by brands. So that was during COVID. Post-COVID, I think what has happened is that brands have realized that COVID has fundamentally changed us in more ways than we imagined. For example, we are struggling to get people to come to office to work. We are comfortable with work from home, right? So therefore, companies, for example, IT services companies are having a tough time getting people to come and work from office. So they're coming up with a hybrid working model, other tools that will make collaboration easy. That is one impact. Second impact that I see is that we've all realized how fickle everything can be. Unfortunately, a lot of people lost their near and dear ones during COVID. We fell ill, we were hospitalized. All it took was one virus, right? And so people have realized that there is quality time to be spent with your loved ones. If you want to go out on a holiday and experience something, do it now. Don't wait. So those are the kind of trends that people are capturing, and even learning has become a route to satisfy your craving to be a better human being, right? So therefore, today, if in my age group, I want to learn something new. It could be a certification course on some new topic. It could be about product marketing, and I'm curious and I'm researching and I want to find out. Okay, so I think these are the broad trends that that occur to me as during COVID and post-COVID.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And so digital marketing is more personalized. That's what consumer expects, like, sir.
Yes.
Compared to traditional marketing, digital marketing, they want personal experiences.
Right.
The advertisement, we should cater to the specific needs, needs of the target respondents, irrespective of different age groups.
Correct.
Okay, fine, sir. Sir, I like to ask, due to time constraint, I will skip a couple of questions, and later if we'll open the floor for audience,
Sure.
Otherwise, I will come back again to some questions. And so next question I'd like to ask is, what is the latest buzzword? What is the latest technology or the buzzword in the world of communications, as far as yourself is concerned?
Okay, I will. I have a few things to say on these things. First one is something called personal branding.
Okay.
Right. I'm sure you must have heard of that.
Yes, sir.
Personal branding, has come at a situation where whether it is a CEO or a professional or an executive or a singer, anybody, is a brand on his own or her own. Virat Kohli is a brand today. Dhoni is a brand today, right? Similarly, there could be an actress, it could be a CEO, and this is while it has happened before the digital world also. For example, Narayan Murthy was closely associated with Infosys, right? When people said Infosys, Narayan Murthy's name came to mind. When
I think.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I think the connectivity may be lost for a few seconds. Now it's okay.
Okay. So I said, personalities were associated with companies even before the digital era. Apple was associated with Steve Jobs, right? Infosys, Narayan Murthy, UB, United Breweries with Vijay Mallya, Captain Gopinath with the airline that he started, right? Yep. So, but in the digital world, it has become even more important because, as you said, there are niche audiences, micro audiences available. So personal brand has become a very important aspect to consider for everybody in every organization. I have a few slides. If you don't mind, can I share them?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So on personal branding, I have a few points to share, which I will quickly run through in terms of the examples. Right. So, have risen in every sphere. Elon Musk, you're all familiar with. Sanjay Subramaniam, some of you may be familiar with in Carnatic music. Ayush Shraddha is somebody who's very popular among corporates for her comedy and so on and so forth. And they've become great content creators themselves, right? And, it is a recognized, often sought after and influential individual in a particular sphere or domain, usually with voice of authority, credibility and expertise. So somebody, Mr. Ambi Parameshwaran's name was mentioned. He was a speaker last year. He is considered an authority on marketing, okay, on branding. So he's a personal brand himself. People reach out to him, okay? But it does not mean that successful, accomplished individuals always need to adopt personal branding. Tim Cook, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, stock market expert, Mukesh Ambani, they don't need this process and are not consciously chasing it. Their brand is a fallout of their work, okay? But it is nice to have because it gives you a career, because students are part of this audience, professionals are part of this audience. It gives your career or business an edge. You can stand out from the crowd if you have a personal brand. It opens new doors for collaborations and opportunities. You can gain trust and relationships, and you can pay forward and inspire others if you have a personal brand. So that is something that I want to speak about in the context of trends that are relevant now. Personal branding is one.
Fine.
Second trend that I want to speak, if you have the time, I think we can open up for questions after this. Is Metaverse.
Okay, fine.
Metaverse is a concept of a virtual world where you can be transported to another world through a gadget. And Facebook has changed its name to Meta, as you know, right? A lot of companies are seeing this as a potential to create a brand world and transport audience to a world which otherwise is not possible because of COVID restrictions and so on and so forth. So, for example, it could be a travel company who will say that I can, sitting in Coimbatore, you can visit Greece by wearing a 3D glass and traveling to a virtual world and so on and so forth. So that is second trend that I see. The third buzzword and trend that I see that is commonly happening is moment marketing, where there is a big news of the day that has happened, let's say, okay, and every brand wants to cash in on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it may work for some brand, it may not work for all brands, but everybody is pushing their agencies to create some momentum marketing, creatives. It is not always advisable to chase it if there's no brand fit. So moment marketing is something that is being chased, everywhere. Then the third trend, the fourth trend is millennials. Everybody wants to attract millennials, Gen Z, So you will see brands like Swiggy and Zomato having an active presence on Twitter, active presence on Instagram, attracting an audience that they think are the youngsters who will become their future evangelists. Because catch them young is the mantra that everybody has, right? So if you're going to buy into Swiggy or like Swiggy at a very young age, you're likely to continue using the brand for a long period of time, right? And in that context, couple of examples, I won't take much time. Couple of examples that I want to show on what they do on platforms like, Instagram. This is Zomato. This is their video on Instagram.
Life lessons we learned from Pani Puri. Like a mix of meat and tikka pani, balance is key in life. Opportunities are like Pani Puri, you have to reach out and grab them. Don't let work overflow in your life. Take only what you can manage. But most importantly, ask yourself what's important to you and have the courage to go after it. Because in the end, it will be worth it.
Right. So this is a reel that I put out on Instagram, and Swiggy has this Instagram post comparing Earth and Pani Puri. Earth is round in shape, Pani Puri is round in shape. 70% filled with water, 70% filled with water. No life without it, no life without it. So these are the kind of creatives that attract a young audience, and you can see by the comment, and it's on amazing creativity, etc., etc. So it makes people laugh, and it is to do with food, pentagon, hexagon, octagon, and in Hindi, brinjal is called bangan. So it is bang on, right? So these are the kind of creators that they put out on, Instagram. Dunzo put out a print ad on common Kannada words that will be useful for people in Bangalore. Bangalore is full of IT people who come from other parts of India, right? So common Kannada words was put out in an ad. Bangalore board game, a Ludo game where you're stuck in traffic and so on and so forth, was put out on Instagram. So these are some of the creatives that brands like brands that are targeting millennials put out on platforms like Instagram and another trend that I see. Then the last one is brand purpose, where large corporates like Unilever and other brands are saying that we need to have a larger brand purpose. Our goal should be to improve environmental consciousness, save water, and so on and so forth, etc. Closer home in Tamil Nadu, Sridhar Vembu is evangelizing or is championing corporates to be set up in small towns and villages, right? Zoho, he's moved from, he's shifted headquarters, and so on and so forth. So brand purpose is also something that large corporates are chasing as a trend. So those would be the key points that I want to make in this context.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And can we open the session for participants, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll come back again if there is no questions. But
absolutely, I have one last slide, couple of slides on which are relevant for the audience, then we can close.
Yes, yes, sir. So students, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Audience. Yes, okay. Rajit Raghu, can you switch on your video and ask the question?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Myself, Rajit Raghu. I am currently pursuing my first MBA at DJ Academy. So it was a really nice session, sir. And my question is, if you see nowadays, most of the companies are going with marketing communication through their own applications, which is push notification. So does it having a good positive impact, or is it annoying the existing customers? So your views on this, sir?
Good question. So not every company needs an app. right? For example, if I am a customer of a bank, I may need an app because I can check my balance, or I can transact and so on and so forth. But even that is possible through aggregators like Paytm or other apps, right? I don't need an app to send money through. So even that is a question. So and even notifications, unless you are relevant, you can be muted,
Yes.
and your every device has that option to mute notifications, or bunch notifications in a particular time, and so on and so forth. So the control is in the consumer's hands. So the brand has to ask itself, what is the pain point that they are solving through their app that nobody else can solve? Now, a question that was asked in Google prior to the app revolution was, does your app pass the toothbrush test? By toothbrush test, they meant, is your app going to be used at least twice a day? Right? You brushed teeth at least twice a day, morning and night. So like that, does your app has to be used at least twice a day? Is the question. So for example, if I'm going to, if it's an app like Book My Show, am I going to use it every day? No, only when I'm going to buy a movie ticket once in a month, or once in 2 months, or once in 6 months, I'm going to use it, right? Yes. So you have to find ways to get the app used very often. So don't just make an app for the sake of making an app. See whether it really is useful and can be used often. That would be my answer.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rajat Raghu. And Mr. Siddharth Guru, can you switch on your video? And yeah.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the informative session. My query is, how does programmatic advertising relate to geo-demographic? I think I imagine that they both were in the sphere of contemporary of the digital marketing. Do any programmatic advertising techniques use geo-demographics?
Okay, programmatic advertising essentially means that there are algorithms which serve ads based on a few parameters. So, for example, if a company like let's say Samsung uses programmatic advertising, then their ads will be served on portals like Gadgets Now, or other portals which they think would be relevant to their audience. But as I mentioned in my previous slide, that there is a lot of bots involved in providing metrics as proof of having seen the ad. So the advertiser will get a report saying that your ad had X million impressions, but a large percentage of those impressions will actually be bots, not humans. So while it is technically possible to serve the ad based on geo, based on interest, etc., that industry, because it is driven by algorithms and can be manipulated, is full of fraud. That is my answer to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And Dharnish Balaji.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, very much.
Good morning, sir. I'm Dharnish Balaji, second year MBA from DJ Academy. And thank you, sir. It was really a wonderful session and got a lot of insights. And sir, my question is, I got placed in LMW. So LMW is a company where they are into manufacturing textile machineries and CNC machines, so kind of equipment, sir. And I'm going to join their digital marketing team. I'm going to start my career as a digital marketer. So any piece of advice that you would like to give me, or any tips?
Right. So I would understand it would be a B2B service, right? Yeah. Because your the equipment will be bought by manufacturers and not end consumers, right? So in the context of that particular industry and B2B digital marketing, I come from B2B marketing myself. I work in a company which is in tech services. So the critical aspect is going to be about discovering your service to the niche audience that is going to buy you. So So the audience that is going to be your customer is not going to be your average Instagram user. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Right. You're not going to go to Instagram and see if you look for textile machines.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Your audience is not going to be on those kind of platforms. So who is your audience? So first understand that.
Yes.
So you have to have a persona in the mind. If the audience is going to be a technical engineer in a, I'm just making it up, textile manufacturing company,
yes, sir.
is he or she going to be on LinkedIn?
Yes, sir.
Where are they going to be spending their time in the digital world? Are there niche digital portals that they visit? For example, in the payments world, in the fintech world, there are niche portals. For example, in the US, there is a portal called pymnts.com, which is short for payments.com. So they will only talk about payment services and so on and so forth. In UK, there is a portal called Finextra, Finextra, which is only talking about fintech. So fintech professionals will visit that portal. So like that, you have to figure out who is your audience, what are the digital properties that they are going to spend time on. If you are clear about that, then you can devise your content strategy.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dharnesh. And Darshan?
Good morning, sir. Myself, Darshan, first
Hi.
MBA, sir. So the session was really nice, sir. Thank you for the session, sir.
Yep.
So my question is, telemarketing is a very traditional form of marketing the products. But nowadays, due to the emergence of apps like Truecaller, people tend to avoid telemarketing. So when they are about to take calls, they look at the person who is calling, they avoid marketing calls. So in this digital era, does telemarketing still have still have a significant impact?
Right. Okay. Very good question. Technology has really disrupted that industry, and you decide not to take the call if it is some spam or whatever else. But the whole industry works. I'm sorry to bring a not so nice analogy, but it is like that. That spam emails that come to us on Gmail, right? A lot of them go into the spam box, but still you will read one report about how that one person believed that some Nigerian king is giving them, $500,000 and they're sharing the bank details. So all they need is that one idiot. Sorry, but So telemarketing is on that theory. They'll make thousands of calls every day. If they make 1,000 calls, 900 calls will be cut off or avoided. But there will be that one call or one person who will accept that, call unknowingly or knowingly and fall for that spam. So that is the theory that they operate. My daughter is joining, a college now, and even though I have, finalized the college, she already joined. I still keep getting calls saying that this college, that college, etc. Right? So they are depending on that one person who will fall for that. Okay, so that is the answer that I would have. It is a challenge. Whether it is for banks selling credit cards or education institutions finding new customers, it is a hit and miss. So that is what I would say is the challenge that they have to overcome.
Sir, and I have one more follow-up question, sir.
Yeah.
How do you think these companies get a mobile number, sir? I get some calls from companies which I've never heard of or never seen anywhere.
So for various reasons, good question. See, nowadays, because everything is through the digital channel and WhatsApp commerce, you cannot buy in a store without giving a mobile number.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you go to a store like Decathlon, which sells sports goods, the cashier will say that they will not sell you if you do not give a mobile number. People have got into fights because of that. The cashier is doing his job or her job because they have been told to get the number to make the purchase, right? So and nowadays a lot of brands are selling through WhatsApp. If you buy a mask through Instagram or some ad that you see, they will send the the tracking alert through WhatsApp, right? e-commerce brand. So that has become a common essential practice to give your number. So that is then sold off to database companies for other people to spam. That is one route. And then restaurants, when you fill a form in a restaurant giving feedback, they ask for your number. That is also bought by unscrupulous people. So those are the kind of things that that are used. And there are companies like big $1 million companies like ZoomInfo, which sell databases to B2B companies. Databases like emails, not phones. So that is a common practice, and that has resulted interestingly in pain point solving businesses. In fact, there is a brand called Dusra, which you can search on the net, which will give you a number which you can give to these people like Decathlon or any other name that will be the number that they will have, but will avoid spam calls from at your end, right? Okay. So that's how they get their names for spams.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sandhya?
Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Sandhya, currently pursuing my final year MBA. So my question is, going forward with the various customer expectations and market fluctuations, so what impact will it have on product life cycles?
Very good question. I think product proliferation, more than product proliferation, I think what has come to be accepted as the norm is product parity. What I mean by that is every product is almost the same, right? Whether it is a toothpaste or a retail store, every product experience is almost the same. Today, if I were to take an example of Pothys as a retail store, I'm sure there are several other Pothys like companies that are there in T Nagar, Chennai, right? Or elsewhere in Chennai, elsewhere in Tamil Nadu, right? So product parity has become a common accepted thing. Like you can send UPI payment through Paytm or through PhonePe or through Google Pay. So what is going to be the differentiator for you to choose Paytm versus Google Pay versus PhonePe or Pothys versus something else? It is going to be the customer experience. By customer experience, I mean it could be, if it is a digital only brand, the digital experience. So today, if I were to book tickets for a train or air tickets, I will choose Ixigo because I like the app interface, right? That becomes the experience. Tomorrow, if I'm going to choose a business school, I'm going to look at the portal and I'm going to see how well they present their information, how well the design is, how easy it is to navigate, how easy to make a payment. I'm just making it up. So the consumer interface is going to be the differentiator in the times of product parity. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the participants?
RPS, there's a question in the chat box. He couldn't come online.
Okay, sir. I will.
Please.
I think it's from
Mahalingam, I believe.
Mahalingam of first MBA.
Yeah.
Sir, his question is, sir, will there be any change in the profile of brand managers in future?
Excellent question. Right. So in my experience working with brand managers, today I have seen that the brand manager is in a far better position to get a 360-degree view of the entire business than ever before. In my times in advertising, it was the marketing, it was the agency's role to be a custodian of the brand. Whether it is where to put the media monies, what should be the positioning, all that was the agency's job. In today's world, because everything is done by specialists, the brand manager has become the crucial point to have a 360-degree view of the entire marketing activity. That is number one. Number two, brand manager in an increasingly tech and digital dominated world has become a product manager. When I mean product manager, a product management role is typically deciding what features will go into a product, right? Earlier, for example, if I'm going to be a product manager for a biscuit, I can decide whether it should be fortified with glucose or some vitamin or something else, or what taste, what flavor, etc. Today, product manager's role is deciding what feature should go in an app, what feature should go in the website, how easy it should be to navigate, should it have the payment feature, what payment gateway, all that is going to be product manager's role, okay? So those two roles are getting combined. So product management is becoming a very crucial role across B2B, B2C, tech and non-tech, enterprises. And that brand manager is morphing into that role. So I would say that is a change that, or the change in profile that will happen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Prabhu, I do have a question, if you don't mind.
Please. Yes, please.
Okay, okay. Sir, so nice listening to you. Fantastic. Sir, of course, two things. One is the emergence of digital media. Okay, and of course, all the companies that they have started paying more attention towards digital media. Even the huge chunk of their advertising and marketing expenditure, now it has gone to digital media. Do you observe a kind of a cow-herd approach without understanding whether it is required or not among the companies in India? That is my question number one. And question number two, of course, emergence of digital media. How has it affected the functioning of the advertising agencies in India?
Sure. Okay, excellent questions. On the first part, I 100% agree with you that there is a lot of pressure within marketing departments and business development departments of even education institutions such as yours to be present everywhere. Instagram, yes. Facebook, yes. Twitter, yes. No, that is not required. We have to decide where our core audience spends most of the time that is relevant to us. For example, yes, our audience may spend time on Instagram, but on Instagram, they want something else. They don't want some serious stuff from, say, a company like GSK. I'm just making it up. So we have to, so the fear of missing out is a very common trait that is there in brand managers now, and they are pressurized to be everywhere, do everything, moment marketing, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That is not webinar, podcast. It is impossible to do everything and do justice to everything. You cannot be, if you're trying to be everything to everybody, you will be nothing to nobody, everybody. So one has to be focused and figure out what is it that, where we need to spend our efforts on and focus on that. That is number one. Second, how will it change the advertising agency? I think earlier we were an integrated agency where everything happened in one roof. In the early 2000s, media buying and planning became a separate agency, and that hived off specialist agencies, and therefore the advertising agency has become a lot weaker, in my opinion, than compared to the 1990s or early 2000s. And that is showing because they don't have the complete ownership of the brand today. So those are the two responses that I have on these two questions.
Okay. Sir, of course, since you were in advertising industry for quite a longer time, this question. If I remember right, P&G was the first one to come out with a proposal like even the advertising agencies are to be made accountable for the performance of any brand for that matter, rather than enjoying that so-called 15% commission straight. Okay, what has happened to that, sir? Of course, there was a stiff resistance from the advertising industry, if I'm right, and ultimately it didn't take off, if I'm right.
Okay, I don't think I'll be able to answer that fully in this given the time frame, but I'll just say a couple of points. The shift in accountability happened because agencies moved, as you rightly said, moved from the agency commission part to a retainer fee. Now, you have an opinion that 15% commission was enjoying the fruits of the company's budget. That is, I think, an incorrect way of looking at it because research has shown that thematic advertising is what builds a business in the long run. You arrive at a theme and put monies behind it consistently over a long period of time, and that's how you grow a brand. And the agencies were compensated for that one-time effort in building that team and putting that on media. Now we have come to a situation where tactical advertising has become, almost the norm. Every 2 months you're doing something new. Every day or something new. So that is not going to build brand, because you're constantly changing your theme, constantly doing something new and chasing new things just for the sake of chasing those new. And agencies are being paid on a retainer fee.
Okay.
That retainer fee has come down and down and down, and so that it is almost peanuts.
Okay.
So when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So you don't get experienced people handling your brand.
Yeah.
And they are not in the right position to advise the clients on what are the right metrics to chase. So, for example, they chase what are called vanity metrics. So, number of followers on Instagram is a metric. It is meaningless. Number of likes on a post is meaningless. What are the meaningful metrics that has converted into business for the brand is what agencies should be advising clients on. That I see as missing in today's agency context.
Okay. Sir, why don't we see personalities like Ambi Parmeshwaran or Bala or Piyush Pandey among Gen Z?
Okay, as I said, probably they have got the wrong idea about advertising, in the sense that they've not been trained to think that advertising is about brand building, and not just about one good creative or one good Instagram post. It is about being consistent. It's about understanding the consumer, understanding the trends, speaking their language, and it's the long term. It's a test match, not a T20. So that, I think, is missing in today's.
That's right.
My opinion.
Okay. And generally, this is the perception which has been prevailing for years together. Indian advertising industry seems to be lacking in creativity, and that is the reason they are running after celebrities. Is it true, sir?
Partly, yes.
Okay.
Because a lot of pressure comes from the brand owners themselves. I have worked with family-run companies where the CEO has an idea that Kareena Kapoor will be the celebrity. Even before anything is discussed, that is fine.
Okay.
And because there is competition to hold the business, the agency will say, yes, we will agree with you, sir, and we will do whatever the client is. But on a serious note, the challenges that India faces are very different from America, USA, or Thailand. Because we are a country of several languages. Thailand is one language, Thai. They can convey the idea in Thai. Whereas I can think of one idea, I have to ensure that it is available and understood and as compelling in 7, 8 languages. It is impossible.
Right.
Sometimes the idea cannot, travel right through India. A concept, for example, in Deepavali, playing cards is a common practice in North India. If I create an ad which shows people playing cards during Deepavali in South,
that's right.
That is the constraint that we have.
Therefore,
it has to be viewed in both lenses. That we have a constraint. Therefore, it is not very easy to have a pan-India idea that captures everybody's imagination. So, in that context, I would say the one idea that has captured everybody's imagination in terms of name is Aadhaar. It's a fantastic name because it cuts across all languages. Every language, Aadhaar is Aadhaar. So it works in Hindi, in Tamil, in Kannada, and everywhere. And that has become, one idea that travels all India. That is very difficult for an ad campaign to do that.
Thank you so much, sir. Lots and lots of insights. Thank you very much. Over to Prabhu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. With your consent, can I conclude the session?
Yes, very much. I have one slide which I want to show quickly.
Please, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
As the last slide on what I think would be the opportunities in brand management, and then we can close.
Yes, sir.
So as I said, career opportunities for brand management. One is brand management and digital marketing, B2C or B2B enterprises, agencies, product management, which I spoke about earlier, digital creative, in social media, community development. Those are opportunities. What does it take? Basic understanding of the marketing function, genuine interest in consumer behavior and broad business trends. For example, tomorrow you may be posted in a job which is to do with agriculture. So how does the farmer think? You are an MBA from Coimbatore or Chennai. You are a city person. So how does the farmer think? You have to understand that. So creative out of the box thinking, communication and skills and articulation, analytical skills. Those are the requirement that would be required, that would be basics in the career opportunities for management students in digital marketing, I think. That is what I wanted to communicate. Thank you for your time and for your attention.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Of course, this is a question I'd like to ask, but I thought of sending through mail and get the answers and inform to students. But anyway, sir, just you addressed my questions, which I wanted to ask.
Thank you so much.
With your consent, just concluding the session.
If I have not answered any questions that are important, I'm sorry. You can always connect with me.
Yes, sir. I will send it. I will send it through mail, sir, and you can give your answers later. I will convey to the target audience.
Definitely.
Right. Thank you, sir. And good afternoon. Hello, sir.
There is a question in chat, sir.
Okay.
Brand manager role in politics, that one.
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course. Even in in Tamil Nadu, they had to get somebody called Prashant Kishore for a political party, right? He's a brand manager. He sees, probably saw DNK as a brand or MK Stalin as a brand, and he advised. Similarly, there are political strategists now who have gone beyond cephalogy and election results to manage political brands. And I spoke about personal brands. So even in politics, there are personal brands emerging, as has been the case. So definitely there is the scope for brand manager but the dynamics of the environment in which the marketing would operate would be very different, because politics is not corporate world. There are so many other dynamics to worry about. So those would be different. But yes, there is a different role for brand management.
Yeah.
Right. With that, we can conclude.
Yes, we can wrap it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So nice of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Sir, just a minute. I would like to give a formal vote of thanks. Hello, sir.
I think he has left. Thank you, RPS. Well done.
Thank you. Anyway.
Yeah.
So good afternoon, everyone. It has been such an honor to conduct the 6th edition of Duologue. So on behalf of DJ Academy, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Sri Lakshmipathy Bhat, Senior Vice President, Global Marketing Communications, Robosoft Technologies, for an excellent session. I hope that there are a lot of takeaways, because he touched upon fundamentals of business and important of brand associations and how brand equity helps a brand in turbulent times, smart marketing, creativity, and what changed in the digital world, and so on and so forth. He also touched upon personal branding and metaverse, moment marketing, million and Generation Z, and brand purpose. So on behalf of our academy, I express my heartfelt thanks to him, and my sincere thanks to our director, Dr. A.G. Narayanan, sir, who has given encouragement and continuous guidance for this event for more than a month. Thank you, sir. A wide round of applause and thanks to all the participants from corporate, academia, and students who made the event as an interactive and a memorable one. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here for making the time to be with us today and helping us make this event a grand success. Thank you, one and all.